Hello, it's Skitty here. Welcome back to a new video. This is gonna be the first part of a new series that I'm gonna start. You could say a day in the life of a king. I want to try and show more of the perspective of a king. I think that's something a lot of people haven't seen before. I know there's always a lot of speculation on what kings do, what their tasks are, and it kind of things that hasn't been shown before. These are also things I want to like to show in the future. Certain things like matchmaking. I want to show how I do my matchmaking, how I make my war plans. I also like to show my diplo situations, sort of like decide that I feel like you know like a diplo situation, most people only see the diplo situation when things go bad, things leak, stuff like that. And I would like to show more sides of the unseen side that hasn't been shown before. And those are the things I want to do in the future. I think these are things I want to show in these kinds of videos as well. But I also want to mainly explain what kings do in these videos. I will do those things in different kind of parts, different subjects. The thing I'm going to explain right now in this video, I think, is the most important part, where a lot of people should look into, things are going on, which is kind of like what kind of types of kings are there, because there's many different types. A lot of people say like, oh, we have a king and that's it, or we have a few kings, but there's different terms for that, different things, different roles, and I just want to go more in depth into that and what it really is, what it really explains, on how it works, or at least my view on it, on how it works. So the first thing I really want to go over is, I think, is the most seen in most of the kingdoms that are in the game. Definitely lower seeds, you can see it a lot, a few high seed ones, which is a dictator. Okay, yeah, so dictators, what can I say about them? I will definitely say that I myself am a dictator. I know there's a lot of different things and opinions about it. I myself hold R5 about 99% of the time. And then I get something that really, explains what a dictator is. It's someone who holds the R5 and really doesn't give it around. I guess for me, it's mostly, I have people I trust. I really do. But for me, it's always, with how many times I got betrayed in this game before I became a king. Maybe it also has something with some real life things. It's like my trust in a common man is not that high for me to give R5 back. However, I think that the biggest difference, in my opinion, here is that there's always different kinds of dictators. There's one who likes to have power. The ones who like to hold power and keep that power are the worst ones. They are bound to betray. They are bound to set rules to their own minds. If things don't go their way, they make sure it goes their way. And I think that's something that really, really is apparent with most of these kind of dictators, is that you will always have bad stories about it, because they tend to really bring the worst in themselves, mostly in this kind of um, you know I think there's a few examples out there of kings just betraying because they want to have a star. Kings getting mad because someone took an MGE spot that they really wanted, even though maybe they don't even deserve it. I think the biggest example is as well that a lot of kings trying to get other wards for their own, so they make certain that their own account gets it, even though they don't deserve it. And I feel like the biggest problems do come forward with MGE. A lot of the problems come from that decision. MG has always been a factor on even Civil War, on people going rogue. MG is always the biggest factor. I know there has been a few years back, there has been constant civil wars because MGE. It's things like that that just happen a lot, but it has definitely died down. I don't think it's a big factor, but the dictators still remain. The dictators in this kind of day and age mostly just consist of people um, ruining and or at least ruining KVKs. Um, when things don't go another way. And for me, yes, I always tell people as well, like I'm a dictator. I don't go around it. I don't share my R5. Um, but I do not get things my way. Of course, I have a vision for my kingdom, and I want to stay true to that vision, and I make sure that that comes true. Um, but I do have a very big leadership team around me who does most of the other things that is supposed to be done. Like I have an MGE council, and whenever they have finished their list, they send me the list, and I post in the kingdom mail, and that's what I do. I don't go over it of like, oh, this is a bad spot, this I don't want this person here, or I need to be on this list. I think that there's a big difference with other certain dictators, and then I think there's more people, who can share that, who always hold R5, but don't want to be, getting things towards them. Um, you always see like a lot of these kingdoms also die out quite quickly after some things have happened down into that kingdom. Um, I think that's like the biggest thing you can really say about dictators. It's just like the subject of they always trying to hog their own power, make sure that everything is theirs. That's like the biggest tell about it. On also finding out that someone is a dictator or not. Um, and I feel like the biggest second type of kings you have around. There's like two kinds of it, but I feel like they don't really I don't think they hold in the same category, but they come very quite close. Which is you always have a council of kings, which consists mostly of 2 to 6 people. That's what I've always seen around there. But you also, you can, if it's 2 people, they don't always call it like a council. There's also people who just say like, oh yeah, we're just a rotation of leadership, which also consists of like 2 to 4 people. That's what you see a lot of times. Um, what I've noticed a lot, I wouldn't say I disagree with the system. I like a council. I have a council myself as well, but my council just doesn't share R5. But the council does entail like everyone has their own roles, which is the same what I have in my kingdom as well. We have people who do the territory, home kingdom territory, migration, holds things accountable when people are complaining on something. You come to that. Of course, as I said before, the MGE. We have a council with MGE. There's someone else head of that MGE is also part of the Kingdom Council, and those are the things that you will see most common in kingdoms. The council is always going to be part of the game. It's shared. A lot of people find it more trustable have multiple people on there sharing. Uh, as I always also find it's why I have a council is if I'm not so certain about my case, or maybe if I missed something, you always have other people who are there behind you, uh, fact checking you, seeing what has to be done, um, making sure that things are going well enough. And I think that's why a council is always necessary. Um, multiple people on that level. Of course, in my opinion, they don't have to hold R5, but it is definitely most common seen. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people like about a rotating leadership and council is that the time zone difference. A lot of people do recruit people for the time zone difference, make certain there is always 24/7 RR5 online. I think that's very smart. I know that I do occasionally sleep. I know that my kingdom will say otherwise, as I do not sleep that much. But overall, it is very handy to have a rotating leadership, at least making certain it's online a lot. These are like the biggest things you can always see in the types of kings. There's really 2 different roles over types of kings and council that you have. These are those different types. I know there's maybe some more different types out there, but they aren't well shown as others. Um, these are just the most common ones, and it's about 90% of the entire game that you have these two types, if not more. Um, yeah, so these are like really things you have to look out for. I wouldn't say even look out for. These are things you go for. Um, it's always also like when you want to migrate, it's really what your preference is. If you want to maybe have someone who really stands firm in our rules, then maybe having a dictator leadership out there who does their things well. Because keep in mind that if you want to join a dictator leadership, that you make certain that they don't just all hold the power to themselves, because that is not a good type to join. However, joining a one that really shares a lot, but just makes certain that their vision comes true, which is mine. Um, then there's no bad thing in also joining that. Um, Overall, there's the biggest thing I want to explain for the future is the leadership, and the leadership is of course the most important thing about a king, because that's the entire backbone. And that's going to be a long video. That's something I want to totally have my own video for. That's going to be the next one I want to put out, is the explanation of leadership in a kingdom, how that works. I know there's also people probably asking or wanting to become part of the leadership. And leadership does include R4 spots. There's always different kinds of R4 spots out there. And I hope in the next videos that I can explain on how this works. I would also love to answer questions for it, maybe helping people improve themselves, or at least their resume, on maybe even becoming a future R4 or leadership. Yeah, I will definitely go over the fundamentals you would need to have to acquire this position. And from there, maybe, we have some future R4s in the making here, which is something I really want to show. My upcoming videos, I want to quickly put on a list that I want to really have out there. There will be maybe like 4 or 5 more videos coming out on this topic, on really how kings work. And then the future will be just different sets on things I can show. I will have a video about, of course, the leadership, which is, I think, the most important video out there, because that is the main factor of an entire kingdom. You, of course, have the migration roles, the territory roles, and war leading. Those are the things I really want to go over. Those are the things I want to show for the upcoming videos. And, well, I really just hope you all stick around to find out what that is. And I hope to see you in the next one.